Well, earlier you heard from the Assembly of the Unemployed about how to create jobs in our economy. Let's hear from the Free Market Foundation now. Zakhele Mthembu is a researcher at the Free Market Foundation. Zakhele, good afternoon to you. We all know that our unemployment rate is incredibly high. How would you create jobs?
I think the best way to create jobs is to get the government out of the labor market. The unemployment crisis in South Africa is primarily caused by state intervention. Our labor market is one of the most regulated in the world through various legislations like the Minimum Wage, the Labor Relations Act, the Basic Conditions of Employment Act, Occupational Health and Safety Act, and a myriad of others. So I think the best way, which would be to create jobs, would be to eliminate, barriers to employment, eliminate possible costs to employing people that currently employers have to suffer before they employ people, and that will automatically encourage those who have the capacity to employ others to do so, knowing that there is no other extra cost like compliance cost or anything of that matter should they decide to do so.
Okay, so you would remove things like minimum wages and things like that. Wouldn't the result of that be that you would have people who, there are many people who would often be on the side of a road in an urban area literally waiting for a job, maybe outside a hardware store. Someone like that might get a job, from what you say, maybe, and would end up having to work as a builder 7 days a week for, 100 Rand a month? Incredibly dangerous work, nothing to protect them. Is that really the outcome we want?
The outcome we want is for people to get a step into the ladder. Currently, we have millions of young people who cannot even get that 100 Rand you are deriding right now, because that 100 Rand is most definitely better than 0 Rand. So what we ideally want is for an opportunity for people who do not have the highest of skills. Because if we look at the quarterly labor force survey as it was released today, young people are the highest in terms of their percentage as a demographic regarding unemployment, meaning that these are people who have low skills and therefore would fetch a much more lower price, probably a price that is lower than the minimum wage in the labor markets. But by them being barred into entering the said market, they are being barred from acquiring experience and skills that will help them to earn a much more higher amount in the future. Because every time we think of horrible things like that, we don't of horrible things like, maybe possibly earning 100 Rand, although I do think earning 100 Rand is better than earning 0 Rand. So really it's a question of what do we want? We currently have millions of people who are earning nothing. Would it be better for them to earn nothing as it currently is the case, or to earn even that measly 100 Rand, which is measly to some, but I'm sure to the one who currently has nothing, it wouldn't be measly. So my solution to that is that let us open up the market so that the people who currently have nothing at least have something, and then have a foundation to build upon so that in the future they can acquire and generate more wealth.
Okay, but the result of that would also be, the inequality we have now would be child's play compared to what this would create, because of the way that capitalism works. People with money now would be able to employ other people to make themselves richer. So yes, someone might get 100 Rand a week, but the person employing them would make a lot more money. They'll be selling the house that person is building for a fortune. Is that really the right thing that we need in South Africa? More racialized inequality?
Again, Stephen, you are ignoring the point that currently, as things stand, we have people who are earning nothing. So in your estimation, you're saying it would rather be better for someone to earn 0 Rand instead of earning 100 Rand. And in my estimation, I think that is quite horrible. I would rather have people earn 100 Rand than earn 0 Rand. And the question of inequality is an interesting one, because inequality can never be eliminated. Every time we speak of it, we always speak of it as a problem, but the solution is never the opposite end of the spectrum, at least among sensible people, to say let everyone be equal, because that would be communism. Although I do know we live in a country where these ideals are quite popular. But in my estimation, I still maintain the case that currently, if you are earning no amount of money, your position in life would be better, even though there'd be someone who is earning much more than you. Your position in life would be much more better if you are earning something compared to someone who is earning nothing. To me, this is a no-brainer, and it is the primary reason why we have the unemployment that we have in South Africa, because we have, commentators and other people in decision-making positions who, when the prospect of eliminating all these labor protections that dissuade employment and thereby have a negative impact on our economic growth, we have these commentators speaking against it and using the bogeyman of inequality as the reason. And what we then are left with is the current unemployment numbers that we have right now, which are really something that is not seen anywhere across the world. So really it is a question of a choice, right? Do we want the choice of having people employed, and possibly, not even possibly really, the reality of inequality will increase. But the thing is, inequality will never be eliminated. So you'd rather eliminate poverty, which is something that we currently have with unemployment, instead of trying to grapple with the bugbear of inequality. Eliminating poverty is much more important. Sorry.
Okay, sorry, Zakhele. I mean, we have heard you. I mean, I get it. But I mean, but that's not what unemployed people necessarily tell us. I mean, I realize that every person who's unemployed will have a different view, as every person who's employed will have a different view. But we spoke to the Unemployed Assembly a moment ago. They said that actually what we need to start off with is a basic income grant and a wealth tax. I mean, these are people who actually are unemployed, Mr. Zakhele, don't have the 100 rand that we refer to. They have a completely different view to you.
And you see, here's an interesting thing, as you say, that there are different, views among the unemployed, because as a Free Market Foundation, we work with the Langenberg Unemployed Forum, and these are people who actually want the opposite of that. These are people who advocate for something like the Job Seekers Exemption Certificate, a certificate that one will get if they choose to be exempt from all these labor laws. So you will have a prospective unemployed person who would want to be exempt from the labor laws, having that certificate, and then taking it to an employer so that they get a job with, the condition that their employment contract will be exempt from the prevailing labor laws. So there are differing, opinions, and as a proponent of freedom, I'm not opposed to that. But what I would say to, those people who are advocating for things like the wealth tax and even more labor market protection, I would say let's have a conversation about what necessarily creates unemployment in South Africa. Let's have a conversation with the people who have the capacity to employ people. And the conversation has been pretty clear. And this is why there is something like even the red tape task team by the president. So even the state is willing to admit this, even though they would not go as far as repealing the laws. The primary problem, and this is something that's been settled in economic literature, the primary cause of unemployment is state intervention. And in South Africa, state intervention is dialed up to 11. And as long as we still have that, that will not go away. And those unemployed people who advocate for more of that still stay unemployed.
Zakhele, something settled in economic literature? Gosh, I think we need to call the authorities. It's the first time.
But it is. But it is. In Austria, this is something that has been figured out, at least in the Austrian School of Economics, that state intervention is the primary cause of unemployment.
No one wants to move to Austria. Everyone wants to move to Denmark, where the government sector is much bigger. There are a lot more regulations on unemployment.
The Austrian School of Economics has nothing to do with the country of Austria themselves, outside of the people who founded that School of Economics coming from there.
I'm aware of that. What I'm saying is that people would rather move to Scandinavia, where there's a much bigger role for government. Anyway, Zakhele Mthembu, good to hear your views.
Scandinavia started off from a larger capital base, meaning that Scandinavians in the past experienced a period of free markets, which enabled them to build the capital and wealth that they are now dishing out to their own citizens.
Zakhele, I promise you another arm wrestle at some point in the future. Thank you very much indeed, Zakhele Mthembu from the Free Market Foundation. I did promise you a different view to the Unemployed Assembly. All right, more in a moment. We'll have a look at the situation in Gaza.